Welcome to the final days. Today is March 26, 2019. I'm putting out this special short video today because I found something interesting that appears to be a complex of filaments in the sky, possibly forming some sort of matrix. The purpose of this channel is to show the viewers that we are living in the very last days according to the Holy Bible, and to explain why this is actually good news and cause for celebration, explained later in this video. These unedited images were obtained yesterday, March 25, from the Federal Aviation Weather Camera located in Prince Rupert, British Columbia in Canada. These are all from the south-facing camera. The images are 10 minutes apart, forming a time-lapse video when strung together. Anyone interested in seeing the original images can download the compressed file of JPEGs at yourluckyday.net/matrix.zip. I may not have this file up until maybe afternoon, so check back if it's not available yet. Jesus is describing the last days in Luke chapter 21 verse 25 when he says that we will see signs in the sky. Okay, first let's eliminate the possibility that these lines are something on the camera. Whenever an object is on one of these weather cameras, such as this image, it is very out of focus. That's because these cameras are set up to look at the sky and not anything close. The lines that we are seeing in these images are fairly sharp, not terribly out of focus. Next, let's eliminate the possibility that these lines are some type of lens flare. Most of the filaments have a reflective area of partial illumination, a shiny spot. This shiny spot moves with the movement of the sun. However, the filament itself remains stationary. The filaments with moving shiny spots are reacting to the sunlight. They are being partially illuminated, and the shiny spot is moving upward with the motion of the sun. This tells us it's impossible for these to be lens flares because they are reacting to the sunlight. A camera-produced lens flare can never react to the sunlight. Now that we know these filaments are not in or on the camera, they must be in the sky. As we move through the footage, they appear to be stationary, like the enormous sky lenses we've been seeing on several of these videos. In order to determine if there is any movement whatsoever among these lines in the sky, I made these close-up images. Then I added contrast so that the lines show up better. Here's what the close-up images look like at this point. Basically, I stacked all the pictures up, then cut a rectangle out of the whole stack to get these close-ups. Next, I selected one frame that had the sharpest view of the lines, this one. In my graphic editor, I added a transparent layer over top of it and carefully traced the very left edge of all of the filaments I could see well. So now I have an image that is transparent except for my black lines. And when the black lines are laid over top of the photo, they match up perfectly with the filaments in the picture. Let's start at the close-up at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is about an hour earlier than the frame I used to draw the black lines. Only one filament has moved just a little bit, marked with a yellow arrow. So let's move to the next frame. That same filament has floated a tiny bit more out of place. In the third frame, we see that more of the filaments have floated in small amounts. There is definitely movement, but not much. In the fourth frame, everything is in place because this is the frame I used to draw the black lines. Then in the fifth frame, we see a little bit of movement in a couple places. By the sixth frame, everything has floated back into place. In frame number 7, we see that 3 lines have moved in small amounts over on the right. And then in frame 8, most of the filaments have floated from their original positions, but only in small amounts. In frame 9, the sunlight is starting to wash out the image on the left side. But of those lines that we can still see, some of the lines in black are in place, and a few are still out of their original positions. And then by frame 10, most of the filaments have floated back into place except for a couple toward the left. The one with a circle around it has moved more than any that we've seen yet. The sun is washing out even more of the picture in this frame, number 11. Of those lines that we can still see, 2 that have moved quite a bit with circles around them. Other lines to the right have moved just slightly. By frame 12, most of the filaments that we can still see have floated back into place. Of those lines still viewable, several are a little out of place, and the one in the circle has moved quite a bit. So as you can see, none of these lines moved a huge amount. It's almost as if they're just kind of floating. They're moving a tiny bit here and there, but basically staying in the same position. This matrix would be the perfect tool for displaying a completely simulated sky to hide the celestial bodies between the sun and the earth, and hide the severe earth wobble that's currently happening. This earth wobble has fragmented our jet stream, which has cascaded into other problems worldwide, causing unusual and extreme weather in different parts of our world, of which only a fraction is mentioned in mainstream media. The enemies of Christ do not want you to know how close we are to the end. The enemies of Christ do not want you to repent and turn your life over to Christ before your time runs out. During the Great Tribulation, which is very close, this system will get close enough to the earth to cause upheaval, as described in the Bible's book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verses 19 and 20, where he says, "The earth is violently broken. The earth is split apart. The earth is shaken exceedingly." And then he describes the earth wobble when he writes, "The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall totter like a hut," which is a hammock. Then he describes the predicted geological pole shift when he continues, "Its transgression shall be heavy upon it, and it will fall and not rise again." But all of this is actually good news and cause for celebration, because Jesus has promised to remove his faithful followers from earth before the major part of the destruction begins. This is commonly called the rapture, which will take place quietly and quickly, just before the Great Tribulation. The New King James Version of Luke 21, verse 36 reads, "Watch therefore, and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass." Jesus is referring to the Great Tribulation. He is saying that those who are counted worthy will escape God's wrath. To be counted worthy, we must be living in holiness. A link in the description box below discusses what holiness is and how to achieve it. These next few screens will tell you how to accept Christ into your life in the event you are seeking Him. Simply pause the screen if you need more time to read the text. In our next video, we will see a full moon on a night when it was only supposed to be 2/3 of a moon, plus more strange things in the sky.